And clap. What's going on, you guys? Look at the color of my hands compared to... I get so mad every time I see that I got color. Because I know that means skin damage. Do you know what I mean? At least that means I'm putting sunscreen on my face. But other than that, that's not... Look at the... My joints have always... Maybe it's not that bad, and editing Maxine will figure it out. My joints always get so dark. Like, what? What is going on there? Welcome back to another Get Ready With Me. I haven't done one of these in a while, but I wanted to do one today because it's Saturday and I'm going to my friend's house. Nicole, I know you're watching. And yeah, I don't know. I just had a lot of time to get ready, so I'm like, let me just film a Get Ready With Me. Spoiler, it's not going to be that interesting, like makeup and hair-wise, because it's like 31 degrees outside today. And I mean, why? And second of all, I don't want to put makeup on or do my hair when I'm just going to be hot, you know? You know? So I have to figure out, I think I'm going to, so here's the thing with curly hair. That if you don't have curly hair, you don't know this. I mean, obviously. If I were to like, it's noon right now. If I were to let my hair air dry naturally or like do it, like this is just out of the shower. I had my hair in a towel, which is not a good thing, but it would take probably like 3 to 4 hours for my hair to dry. Like my hair will be, especially because it's so humid outside, my hair will be wet for the whole hangout. So, and I don't want to blow dry it. So I think I'm going to braid my hair into little French braids. How do we feel? Y'all can't answer, so I'm just gonna do it. And I'm gonna look like a little kid, but that's okay because the only person I'm seeing accepts me for who I am. Actually, I'm lying. I'm seeing 2 people, but they both accept me. Ow! My name is... What? My name is... Wide tooth comb. I didn't spray anything in my hair either. You guys don't normally see this shit show that is me doing my hair, but this is how it usually goes. Hi, my name is... Because I'm going in the sun. How's that, the mic? I'm going to use this heat protective thing because the sun is very damaging on your hair. As you guys know. So anyways, I think that's all the housekeeping I have. Obviously from the title and from the questions I've asked you guys on my socials. This, I want to talk about, or the subject line of this video is going to be astrology, paranormal, and other things. I put tarot, but let me just say, I don't really know anything about tarot. Like I know I do it, and I enjoy it, and I love getting my cards read, but I don't know enough to answer any questions on it. So I don't know why I included it in the questions. But I have a tarot deck, and I love to just have a glass of wine and like do a little card reading. In this room, I like sit on the floor here. It's my spot with the mood lighting. But I don't know enough about the cards to do like a proper reading. Like every card I pull, I have to look up in my little book what it means, which I know it's fine, but I want to be at the point, practice makes perfect, but I want to be at the point where I can just pull a card and know exactly what it means. But I'm not there yet. I feel like I love the idea of tarot because any physical thing that can tell me about my destiny, oh my, sign me up. Yeah, I'm all about that life. I very much like, I'm not saying it's accurate at all, but I think that's the whole point. Someone asked, and I have all the questions here. It's like 3 pages of questions and everyone's names, but someone asked, they were like, I don't think they were like a believer in any of this stuff, like astrology or anything like that. And she's like, why do you think people believe in it so much and make it their life? And I didn't know how to answer it, so I didn't include it, but now I feel like I can answer it. I feel like, I'm not going to say it's a harmless thing because some people can go get crazy and like get a little bit too into it and kind of like base their life off it. But I think people it's like a control thing. It's almost like you feel this like false sense of control over your life because you can like somehow predict it. So I think that's what I like about it. Like if I want answers or like I want to know something, I have the ability to find out. But it's like, take it with a grain of salt, you know? Okay, I'm going to do a middle part. I was just brushing my hair for a very, very long time. Oh, I didn't put this in. This is the Bumble and Bumble for very dry hair. Okay. Like, could have just said dry. I don't really love this stuff, to be honest with you. It gets a little crunchy. But since I'm just going to braid my hair, it's going in. It's going in tonight. I was thinking, like, in 10 years, when I hear any kind of TikTok song or anything to do with these times, we're all gonna shudder. Like, if I hear any Doja Cat song in 10 years, it's gonna be the amount of hair that just came out in my legs. Okay. I've said this before, but I can fully be linked to any crime scene. Any crime scene from my hair. Like, it just blowing in the wind, I'll end up in, like, Germany. Anywhere. I kind of need to do... We're all over the place today. If anyone's surprised, get with the program. This is how we live. Not the headband. Oh. Why do I look like that? Okay, doesn't matter. I need to put sunscreen on my face because it has to happen in steps. I'm putting toner on. I've been using this toner, the Wild Oat. Oh my god, why? It's my sense of humor broken. I usually, if you guys know, I love the Fresh Rose one, but I'm out of it and I had this one. My friend gave it to me as a gift, so I'm like, let me just use this. And I do like it, but I feel like I'm so attached to the Fresh Beauty Rose line. I'm like, you know, you just find something that works for you? Do you know when you just find something that works for you? That's that. Okay, I have to wait for that to dry, which is the annoying part. Let me just get into some questions. I did take this off. Okay. I'm like nervous to get into this for some reason because I wanted to talk about this stuff for a while, but also like I can always talk about things. Like, people are like, oh, rate the signs from 1 to 10. I'm not gonna do that, but if you guys want me to do it, I'll do it in another video. Clickbait. People love hearing about their own signs. Like, you know, on TikTok when it's like, this is the signs in like the signs' favorite foods or whatever, and they'll only do like 5 signs. And I've noticed actually, the creators who do this will purposely leave out like Leos and like Sagittarius or like the loud obnoxious signs that will comment and boost the algorithm and be like, you missed Leo or you missed Sag, because then that just boosts the algorithm. Like, it's sneaky. I've noticed it. I've noticed that. Unless I'm just like, that's how big my ego is. And I'm like, oh my God, the only reason they're skipping Sag is because I'll comment. And I will, and I have, and I do. So spoiler alert, I am a Sag. Okay, first we're gonna start off with astrology questions. And I want to expose my birth chart. And if you follow me on Instagram, I've already done this, and I've done it on TikTok. So it's not much of a secret anymore. But I am a Sagittarius, and I have Sagittarius as my first 5 placements. I think that's what they're called. If I haven't said this before, I'm a noob at this. So please educate me in the comments below. I definitely don't know everything. But I know what I know. And what I know is I have Sagittarius 6 times in my chart. I should have this. But I can dive into my birth chart in a video if you guys care. So the first 5 are Sagittarius, and then I have Scorpio and Aquarius randomly, but I have 6 Sag in my chart, and I think there's like, 10? Oh my God, no, nothing. But that means I am very much through and through a Sag. It's actually crazy. Like, so my big 3, your rising sign, and if you guys don't know anything about astrology, kind of neither do I. But your rising sign is the personality that you present to others who don't necessarily really know you yet. So when someone asks what your big 3 is, they're asking your sun, your moon, and your rising. So my sun and my moon are Sag, and my rising, drum roll please, Gemini. Yeah, so I'm a 6-time Sag with a Gemini rising, and that might clear a little bit of things up for you guys. If you're wondering why I act like this, that is why. Yeah, I love it though. I'm so biased. I'm like, I love Sag. But Gemini is my rising, and I think it makes a lot of sense because, I mean, it's very like, what's the word? Like beginner, introductory to be like, oh, Gemini's like two-sided or like two-faced or whatever because there's the two. Pisces and Gemini both have two, right? And I feel like my rising, because the rising is the personality you present to people if they don't really know you yet. It's like, you know, who you're like trying to be. And I feel like I relate to Gemini being my rising sign because I really do have two personalities. Like when you meet me, you'll probably think like, oh, she's I'm gonna stop saying obnoxious, you know? She's outgoing. There's a more positive word. Like loud. Like I'm not shy to like meet people or, you know, talk to people. But then when you, like my real friends know I'm actually the biggest introvert. Like I'm like literally the class clown meme where like they make jokes all day and then they go home and take off the mask and just like slumped on the bed in silence, just trying to like regain energy. So I think Gemini, when I think of my rising as Gemini, that's what I relate it to. And I'm gonna put sunscreen on. But yeah, I had a lot of questions about my birth chart, and that's what it is. I'm a 6-time Sag, baby. It's insane. If you want to see my birth chart, you can go to my TikTok. You can, though. And, yeah, check it out. It's, not to toot my own horn, but it's kind of psychopath of me. Another person asked this question, of the FBI's zodiac signs or something like that. Oh, no, I need the headband. And I don't think I've seen that list, but I'm sure it's all like Sagittarius, Gemini, literally me. I think Ted Bundy was a Sag. I think a lot of murderers were. Anyways, okay, we're just gonna get, I've never used this toner with sunscreen before and it's kind of pilling already, which is annoying, but whatever. I let it dry enough, come on. Okay, questions. If I butcher your names, guys, I'm so sorry. Please tell me, please phonetically spell it down below. Okay, Areli, Guerra, Aldi? Is that anything? Said, do you feel more represented by your sun, moon, or rising sign? So I'm a 6-time Sag. I really relate to being a Sagittarius. I mean, because I'm pretty heavy on the on the chart. But I also relate to being a Gemini. I remember I used to, like, Geminis get a bad rep. And I always gave them a bad rep until I found out I was one. And then I'm like, you know what? They kind of have some positive qualities to them. But a lot of my really good friends are Geminis. And yeah, I feel like I like them. So I feel most represented by my sun and my moon. Like, I feel like I'm a Sag girl. Anyways, can I say Sag one more time? Amy Balducci said, do you think a person's star sign is generally well reflected in their personality? Their star sign. I think their rising sign is more well reflected when you first meet them, because that's like the personality they're presenting you with. But I mean, everyone's different, like with everything, and I'm sure I'll say this a lot in this video, astrology, tarot, everything like that. For me personally, I take it with a grain of salt. Like, your star sign can be something and you could not relate to it at all. Like, I think that's definitely a possibility. Did that answer the question? I don't know, guys. Let's just keep going. Izzy Grace Hale said, sometimes I find the rising sign, if not more, telling about a person, their sun. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I feel like this is the same question over and over again. Let's just skip it. But yes, I agree. The rising sign tells me more, at least. Marie said, what signs have you dated in the past and which signs do you feel like you're most compatible with in relationships? I feel like I'm compatible. I can be compatible with everyone. Like, I feel like everyone can be compatible with everyone if, you know, there's no such thing as like only, like, I believe in compatibility, but also every person's different. Like, you can meet 2 different Aquarius and them being completely different, although, spoiler alert, Aquarius men, absolutely not. Sorry, babe. Too many bad experiences. They are so, yeah, let me just rant on this a little bit. I've only like experienced 3, but they've all given me the same, just not unattainable, but like detached, they just like don't really care about anything at all. And I don't like that because I'm a very deep carer about everything. So it just doesn't work. But I get along with fire signs, but I feel like it's always borderline like not aggressive, but just kind of like two fire signs together is kind of like fiery. I do like fire signs though. I should have done this before the sunscreen, but that's okay. Fire signs. I don't really get along with earth signs, but like we're all so, oh my god, that freaking jet. I'm so biased when it comes to signs based off the people I know, obviously. So I could say I don't really get along with earth signs, but that's just because some of the earth signs, like one of my best friends is a Taurus. Taurus is earth, right? Y'all expect me to know this shit. I don't know. But Tauri and I butt heads, but in a way that we can like laugh and work through it, you know? Every time I film these, I'm like, what are you even saying? I'll end a sentence and I'll be like, were you just talking just then? Were you just saying something that you shouldn't have been like talking about? Like, yeah, probably always. But anyways, doesn't matter. Taylor Ranta said, what sign has qualities you appreciate but are not similar to yours? I loved this question. Also, Taylor, I always see you on my socials. Thank you for always being so supportive. I see like the same names over again and like I just so you guys know, I know. Okay? I know. I see you. And I love you. And thank you. Thank you and good night. What's that song? Fuck you, thank you, and good night. Shit, I need to Google it. Ballin', it's a Nicki song. No, it's a Megan song. Thank you. No. I was just about to Google thank you and good night. Yeah, that's like every sentence ever. Fuck you and thank you. Ballin'. Thank you. Sorry, I have to do this. And good night, Megan. Come on. I might cut this out. What's the song? It's like do 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 do. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna pretend like that doesn't bother me, even though it's really pissing me off. You know what? I'm gonna cut this out, but I need to figure this out right now. Sorry, guys. Thank you, fuck you, and good night. Is that what it is? Thank you, fuck you, and good night. If I don't find this out, I know it's in Tina Snow. Also, if anyone's not listened to Tina Snow yet, what are you doing? Ballin'. Oh yeah, this one. Thank you, and fuck you. Hey, posing, drinking all the bottles of Patron, got these niggas. Okay. Wow, I'm so happy And we're picking up where we left off. And the song was Good At by Megan Thee Stallion. Love her. Love her, but you guys know that, right? I don't know why I just started doing my eyebrows. I'm gonna do my hair. Okay. Did I answer this question? No, I didn't. Okay. Taylor Ranta said, what sign has qualities you appreciate but are not similar to yours? And I'm going to say Capricorn. Because there's not a sign I think is more opposite than me than Capricorn. And fun fact, my sister's actually a Capricorn. And maybe that's why I think I'm so opposite to Caps. Because me and my sister could not be more opposite. Just in the way that we like deal with things and things that we like feel comfortable doing. Capricorns are okay, the ones I know, aka my sister. They're perfectionists, and that's not a bad thing, but it's just not me, and I appreciate them, but they're not similar to me, which is the question. They're perfectionists, and they're also very hardworking. I'm not gonna say that's not me, but like I feel like I'm a work smarter, not harder type of girl. And they are also very responsible, which again, I feel like a lot of Capricorns are like the oldest in the family or whatever, so they are kind of like the mother role. Not like that was my sister's role, but I think a lot of Caps in general, like Kyle Richards. Anyways, I've been watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It's amazing. Kaylee McCall said, what's your dream nightmare blunt rotation list? Oh my god. And I wrote all these down also. If you don't think I'm organized, I wrote all these down. Sorry, let me... I'm gonna braid my hair if I didn't tell you what I'm doing right now. Okay, my dream blunt rotation list is Gemini, Aries, and Scorpio. I just feel like we would get along, have a good time, and there wouldn't be any kind of drama, you know? And my nightmare blunt rotation list is Capricorn, Aquarius, and Virgo. And let me tell you why. I just feel like I would trip out, to be honest with you. I don't really have a good enough explanation, but like, okay, if you guys, camp counselor vibes, if you guys can French braid your hair, you know when you just like feel like you can't do it? Does that make any sense to anyone? Like, I'm really good at French braiding my hair, but sometimes I just feel like it's like, nope, not today, babe. Not today. Okay, let me just get in the groove right now. And I have Virgo on that list because I feel like Virgos are very like particular, and they like things to be like organized and planned and like have all their ducks in a row, whatever. And I feel like if we were smoking a blunt, that would stress me out. Okay, MK Griffith said, would you ever not date or not be friends with someone because of their sign? Does someone's sign factor into your decision to be in a relationship with them at all? And no, not at all. Absolutely not. I would never... Okay, I don't think of the sign, but if they were showing characteristics that I didn't like that also had to do with their sign, like for instance, I would never be like, oh, I'm not dating that guy because he's a Taurus. But if I was like talking with him and he showed how he was like really stubborn or whatever, negative qualities of Taurus, not even like stubborn's a negative quality, but sometimes I butt heads with stubborn people because I'm very alpha. Okay. I would not date him because he's stubborn, not because he's a Taurus. Does that make sense? So, like, I would never write someone off. I say that and my friends are probably like, girl, be honest. But I would never write someone off for their sign. But if they show their sign's ugly head, yeah, I might think about it. Okay, the last question on astrology is, the username is, I'll change my username when I think of a good one. Said, do you resonate with your sign or know anyone that doesn't suit their sign at all? I definitely resonate with my sign. And you guys, someone that doesn't suit their sign at all, you all know him, Dean Barry Hebshire. I refuse to believe that he's a Sagittarius. Can I just say also, he's a November Sag, and I feel like they are very different. But like, he's a Scorpio. Sorry. Yeah, he's not a Sagittarius. Oops. He's not. That was very Dean. Oops. Okay, now we're getting into paranormal. Is everyone excited? Is anyone watching this at night? This bald spot, like, I know you guys all see it. Okay, anyways. Okay. The reason I wanted to ask questions about paranormal is because I recently have just been confronted with a lot of really weird coincidences around paranormal, and it's been like one after the other, and I just feel like not someone or something, but like something's trying to tell me something in a non-scary way. Okay, so let me just say, should I answer all these questions one by one? Let me just say, I definitely believe in ghosts. I think if you don't, I mean, everyone's allowed to believe what they want. But I think if you don't believe in ghosts at all, you're lying to yourself a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, we're all adults here. I don't know. Just be honest with yourself. I think people are like so scared that they're like, no, they don't exist. And I do think that people who believe, okay, like Santa Claus, you experience more things because you're almost like looking for it. So let me just tell you a story that happened to me this weekend, or last weekend. And I'm sorry to my friend whose cottage this was. I know you're not going to appreciate this or whatever. Like, she knows what happened. But I went to my friend's cottage, and literally I've never been more sure that there was a spirit there in my life. In my actual life. And what happened was I recently found out how haunted Ontario cottages are. Like, not cottages, sorry. Ontario forests. Like Algonquin. If you guys live in Canada, have you heard this before? I've never heard about it in my life. Okay, I also look like such a child. It's okay. I'm literally going to see my girlfriends. I don't want to be hot in the sun. And I can take these out when it's dry and have like a little crimped moment, you know? I am, though. I just stopped mid-sentence. I know that. But I am going to fill in my... This is really bugging me right now. Like, postpartum? What's going on? Posing. Taking out the photos of the posing. If you know, you know. Okay, so... Yes, I believe in ghosts, and yes, I had an experience with one last weekend. So I'm at her cottage, beautiful cottage, obviously, like, I mean, any like, they call them different around the world, but anything on the lake, even if it's just like a hut, a campsite, a tent, I'm like, this is beautiful. I love being by the lake. And I'm like, how do I even start this story? Just because it only started happening at night. I guess I wasn't like paying attention to it during the day. But I go to bed and we're in like different rooms, and it was like her and her boyfriend and me. Love a throuple moment. And I'm brushing my teeth, and all I hear is scratching down. And like, if you guys are gonna be like, you're dramatic or you're lying, please click out. This is not the vibe I want from you. I hear scratching down the wall of the bathroom, and like loud, like comically loud. And it was a wood door. Everything was like super rustic. So it was like this old wood door, and I heard like scratching, and as if like the window was open and there was like pages fluttering all around. Like, it sounded like if you had a magazine open, it was like flipping through really quickly. And I was laughing because it was so loud that I was like, to my friend, I'm like, why, like, can you stop doing that? What are you doing? And I heard her down the hall in her room being like, what? And my body, I got like ice cold. Like, I thought it was so obviously a joke that I was like laughing about it. And then when she's like, was clearly not there, you just like feel the cold. And I freaked the fuck out. Her boyfriend came to check on me. And he's someone that doesn't believe in ghosts. So he was like, he heard my face right now. He heard the scratching because I'm like, listen to this. And we both heard like, and he's like, he didn't say anything, but he like walked towards the door and opened it. And with his like iPhone flashlight, and I'm literally like, don't do that. He's like, there's nothing in here. It's fine. I'm like, of course you can't see it. It's a fucking ghost. Like, what do you like? Like, you think your fucking iPhone is going to be able to... No, but like, he's like, oh, it could have been an animal. I'm like, An animal inside your house. It could have been. It could have been anything. Hey, it totally could have been anything. Sorry, it cut out. Is my audio still going? Yes. So I go to bed. And I'm used to, like, I live in the city and I always have my windows open. Winter, summer, doesn't matter. They're always open. And obviously, you know, if you ever stayed in the woods, it's dead silent. But the silence was like so silent. How do I explain that? It was like nothing it was like no silence I've ever heard before. But it really was. And I didn't like that because then every other sound was like amplified. And also it was pitch black. Obviously, again, we're in the woods. But my curtains weren't even like completely closed. And there was not even, like, if I opened my eyes and looked towards the curtains, I could not tell you where it was. Normally, like, the moon is, because the moon was out. Normally the moon is like shining a little bit to show, not to show, but like, you know, you can see, even if it's pitch black, if you looked at a window, you'd be like, oh, that's where the window is because I can kind of see the light from the moon. No. I was like, you couldn't see anything from this close to my face. And I did not like that, but I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to go to bed. Like, what am I going to do? You know, I'm going to go to bed. Also, there was chairs in the room, and rule number 1, I don't fuck with chairs in my room. It's just like, what, giving them a place to sit? Yeah, no. I'm put a little bit of, I wasn't going to do my makeup, but now that we're talking, I'm like, let me do a little bit of foundation. So I go to bed, and I start hearing this banging sound, and it sounds like it's coming from either the bathroom or the closet because they're right next to each other. But I kind of passed it off because we ran the dishwasher, and even in like my place, the dishwasher, like, which is like a new renovated condo, the dishwasher can be pretty loud at night. So I'm like, oh, it's probably just the dishwasher. But then the sound started to sound like, I feel like I'm telling a ghost story at camp or something right now. Like a knock. Something that I couldn't pass off as not being a knock. And I'm kind of like, okay, it's an old cottage. You know, I used to live in an old house. It kind of creaked around. Maybe it's just whatever. And I literally was like, I was lying in the bed, like not moving an inch. I was plugging my ears because even with scary movies, if you turn off the sound, it's not scary anymore. Like, if I wasn't I couldn't see anything. So if I wasn't able to hear the knock, that's not scary to me. I'm just going to go to bed. But every time I would fall asleep and my hands would kind of like loosen and I would hear shit, I would hear the fucking knock. And I'm like, no, this is not okay. I actually thought about leaving in the middle of the night, but then also, and like going to the McDonald's parking lot and sleeping there. But then also driving up like the wood road, also wouldn't be able to do that at all. Because that's a horror movie. Like, just your headlights being the light. Oh my god, no. So anyways, I felt it in my bones that I was not alone. And I didn't necessarily think it was a bad spirit, but I was just like, this is what it is. Like, this is what's happening right now. There's a spirit, and like, what was calming me down is I'm like, what are they going to do to me? Like, literally worst case scenario. Like, there's never a story of them murdering someone. I'm like, I could be possessed, but I don't think that's going to happen because I'm not really fucking with it. And another thing, I respect the hell out of anything. Like, I'm always very respectful of that. You know what I mean? You have to be. So I wake up and we're kind of like laughing about it. And because in the morning it's like, oh my god, I can't believe I like thought, even though there definitely was. And I leave that afternoon. So I'm like packing my stuff to go. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just look in the closet that I felt I heard the knocking from. Because it's daylight, I'm about to leave. Like, let me just see. You guys, I kid you not, I have photo and video evidence of this. I opened the closet and there were 2 faceless dolls on the top shelf. And like, sure, it could have just been random childhood stuff. Like, it could be anything. But there were 2 like knit faceless dolls in the closet that sounded like someone was knocking from it. So whatever that was, I'm not saying I don't know. It could have been an animal, and it could have been something. It could have just been the pipes. but they were dolls. So one thing I don't fuck with is dolls. And yeah, I drove home and that was that. I've talked to my friend, she's never felt anything paranormal there, which is good. But it's also like what I said, if you, not that she doesn't believe, but it's almost like I search things like this out, which is not great at all. Like if I hear a noise in the woods, it's never, oh, that was an animal. It's like, oh. But her and her family have never felt anything. But continuing on this story, the sirens. So after that happened, random things kept like showing up in my feed or like on movies or stuff talking about paranormal experiences. And this TikTok came into my timeline that scared the absolute shit out of me. And it was about a woman in Ontario talking about these things that she's heard in forests and like haunted things. And I didn't know any of this stuff existed. Like I grew up in a very foresty area. I would go to summer camp. I'd go camping with my friends. Like I never ever was in the woods and ever felt anything weird. But now that I heard these stories, better believe like, oh my God, I'm about to shit my pants next time I go camping. So with this video, she was talking about these things. I want to call them cryptoids. I don't really know because I also don't want to do research on them because I don't want to. It was one of those things like the name. If you guys know what I don't even like thinking about it. And if you don't know what this is, you're going to be like, this girl's crazy. But the name of the cryptoid that I'm thinking of starts with a W. And apparently everyone in the comments is like, don't type it out. Don't even think about it. Never like search it on Google. Don't like all this crazy shit. And I'm like, oh, there it is. I can't stop thinking about it. And that night I literally was replaying my head. And like, please, you guys, please don't comment in there. If you want to comment about this in the comments, please like get rid of, apparently if you swipe out the vowels, a lot of y'all are really going to think I'm crazy right now. So anyways, there was this woman talking about this thing that lives in like Ontario forest and other places in the world. And it would mimic like children laughing, and it would like whisper your name in the woods. And like, if you hear anything in the woods, never approach it. And just all this crazy shit, and how you should never, there's so many people being like, never whistle in the woods ever. And people are like, yeah, like my grandma would always tell me never whistle at night in the woods and stuff like that. Or like, if you hear something calling your name in the woods, like run. So that scared the shit out of me. Anyway, so I'm reading through the comments of this video, and oh my God, is this a true crime podcast? It's taking me 40 minutes to like talk about this. I read through the comments, and there's a little subsection on a town in Ontario called Ajax. And by subsection, it just means someone being like, oh, I used to live in Ajax, and there was like all these things. Okay, wait, I forgot a big part of the story, so let me go back a little bit. When I'm talking to my friend who I'm at our cottage at, I'm asking her, have you ever felt anything haunted, blah, blah. And she's like, no, but the house I used to live at was definitely haunted. She's like, I would feel so creepy in the basement, and like you just would feel something in the house that she used to live at when she was a kid. And she said her younger sister, she said they would always tease her younger sister because she would always say that there was like a man in a top hat that would be like at the edge of her bed. She thought it was their brother, but then it was like a ghost, and no one else ever saw it except her younger sister. And they were all kind of like, oh, like the man in the top hat, like whatever, kind of teasing her. I think that's how it went. And then so I'm reading these comments, and they grew up in Ajax. Sorry to give your life away. I'm reading the comments on this video, and someone's like, oh, I used to live in Ajax. There's a lot of paranormal stuff that happens there. And I go through and read all the comments, and this is 2 days after my friend tells me about this man in the top hat. And I kid you not, there's a comment being like, yes, Ajax is very haunted. I used to live in a house, and a man in a top hat lived in my closet. Like a complete stranger brings up the story of a man in a top hat living in her closet. And I fucking obviously it's 2:38 in the morning when I'm reading this, and I print screen it and send it to my friend being like, get out. Like, you literally just told me this story, and I just happened to come up on this on my For You page of someone who lived in Ajax. And it's like, it's a big world out there, especially on TikTok. Lives in Ajax and has experienced these things. So my friend sent it to her whole family, being like, look at this, because they all felt like the house they lived in was haunted. And my friend messages the woman on TikTok through her username and finds out where, or like not finds out, but asks her where she lived and where she grew up and whatever. So they're talking. They lived across the street from each other growing up. And they both had an experience with this man in a top hat. So there's that. There is that. Yeah, I've never lived, well, like, the house I grew up in was not old, but I never felt anything. I mean, I guess I was really young, so I wouldn't remember, but I don't have any memories of, like, being scared as a kid. But I did live in a haunted house when I was in university, and anyone who's been there can agree. The house we lived in, if any of my friends are watching, I'm talking about the Crack Shack, which was a house we lived in like Moss Park in Toronto, which is a very scary area. I mean, it's sad. It's just a lot of like drugs and stuff like that. It's really sad if you think about it. The city just like pushes them all into this one area and gives them no resources and whatever. We never had any, sorry, let me just bronze my chest right now. We never had any bad experiences, but it's not a great place to live just because of, you know. Anyways, so that house was definitely haunted. My friend Liv, she slept in a room that was kind of like away from everyone else, and she had like her own bathroom and all this stuff. And her bathroom, like, I kid you not, and I don't say this lightly, you always felt like you were being watched. And to the point where we all felt it. Like, I lived with 5 girls, and we all felt it. But we would have parties, and random strangers would be like, I felt like someone was watching me in there. Like, people we wouldn't even tell them would reconfirm that are like, yeah. I know my friend Mel saw, and I feel like I did too, like just black orbs kind of like going through the upper area of the house. And I want to say it was a really old house. I don't really know the history of it, but I just remember being like, this is scary. Like, there's definitely something here right now. Nothing ever happened to us though, but yeah. I also used to do Ouija board all the time. Especially, this is actually crazy to think about, and me and my friend were just talking about this the other day. We would do Ouija board in the Crack Shack, and like in this like sketchy place that we lived. Like, what? I remember once we like got rid of our Ouija board because you have to like destroy it in a certain way. I don't remember how. And we made one out of a pizza box and like a beer bottle cap. Like, why are you... I can't even believe... I will not step foot near a Ouija board ever again. Like, that is crazy behavior. I cannot believe that we did that. I don't think we ever were talking to anyone, but oh my God. This is actually a question. Jen Riviera _05 said, do you ever worry you're communicating with something dark? And then she wrote, I do, so I stay away. I would never, ever, ever, ever seek communication with anything paranormal ever in my life. Even if it's good, no. Like, I can't believe I used to do Ouija. And I did Ouija board as like a kid too with my friends. It's crazy that they sell those at like toy stores, or like you can buy one at like a Walmart. Like, what? I don't fuck with that shit at all. At all. So yeah. And what else? Hey, Drew said, do you have a favorite cryptoid? But all that kind of stuff really scares me, to be honest with you. Like what I was saying, the TikTok when she was talking about these creatures that like live in the woods. I don't like learning about it because then it's just going to take up so much of my mind and I'm going to like look for it now. You know what I mean? So I try to stay away. And I also, this is so crazy, I always make jokes about how like I think there's ghosts in my apartment. For some reason right now, I feel like lining my lips. So we're going with it. I feel like there's ghosts in my apartment, but like not actually, never anything bad. But like, for instance, if I trip or if I, pardon me, if I trip or if I do something embarrassing, I'll like look around and be like, I know y'all saw that. Like, I know you fucking saw that, as a joke. Is that me losing my mind a little bit? I don't know. But I'm just like very much a believer in them. Like I think they could be all over the place, but I always make it very clear, like only good spirits are allowed to be around here. Only good spirits. If you're a bad spirit, go through the fucking door. Literally through the door. So yeah, honestly, like if you're a good spirit, you're more than welcome to hang. Just like refill the popcorn when you eat it. I don't even know why I said that. Okay, I think that's it for paranormal. Oh, and the last thing, I don't know if this is considered a cryptoid, but you guys, I swear to God, I saw, when I was a kid, I saw a fairy. Now, was it the night that I put a tooth under my bed for a tooth fairy? Yes. Did I have a very overactive imagination as a kid? Also, yes. But I swear, like, I woke up out of my sleep and I saw this blue glowing like orb, and I kind of like focused on it, and it was legit like this tiny little fairy at my window, and it just was like sitting there, and then it flew away. And I remember I told my mom, and she was like, oh, you saw, because I was like, I saw the tooth fairy, and she's like laughing about it because obviously like spoiler alert, tooth fairy doesn't exist, y'all. Doesn't exist. But I saw this fairy, and I don't know, I only recently have revisited this story being like, was that actually a thing? Because who knows? But yeah, that, not like it scares me, but I believe in a lot of that shit. Because I don't know, I just feel like the last few questions I have, I labeled under the term destiny. Whatever that means. And let me think what else I need to do for my makeup. I need to do blush. That's pretty much it. Let's just end it at that. I'm literally about to be in the sun. Oh, I need sunscreen. There we go. The body sunscreen I use, if anyone cares, is the Green Beaver Company. It's pretty greasy, but I like it a lot. I think it's Canadian too. Yeah, made in Canada. That doesn't mean it's Canadian, but anyways. Okay, this question is by Samuya, I think. That's how you pronounce her name. Do you believe in everything is meant to be, if the universe wants, it shall happen sort of attitude? Or are you more, I'm in charge of my own destiny type person? Okay, both, for sure. I definitely believe everything happens for a reason. And that really like relaxes me in my life. But at the same time, you kind of have to go out and make choices and build experiences in order for things to happen. Does that make sense? Like, yes, everything happens for a reason, but also you need to make the things happen for them to happen for a reason. Yeah. And I also am very interested in, I don't know if this ties into the question, but I'm very interested in parallel realities. Oh my God, my foot, get up. Okay, thank you. I'm just very aware that like every decision you make in your life is how do I say this? Every decision you make in your life builds the path to where you're about to go. Even like if you decide to wear yellow that day, if you take the long way home, if you like comment on someone's shoes, like every single thing you decide to do is what puts the stepping stones for your life. So you could decide, like if you choose to go to that party, your life could have a completely different outlook than if you don't go to the party. I'm not saying it's a good outlook. I'm not saying anything better happens if you choose to like go out more or whatever, but it just does change the trajectory. So I think not in any way of regret, but sometimes I'll be like, I wonder what would happen if I went to this school, or I wonder what would have happened if I took this chance, or if I didn't go here, you know. It's interesting to me. I don't like get hung up on it, but I'm just like aware that every choice you make is building your life. Not in any which way, but it just is. I have no idea what I'm talking about right now, you guys. I've been rambling for an hour now. I have no idea. I hope this is entertaining to one of you. One of you. That would be enough for me. Eleanor S. said, have you ever had any weird signs from the universe that went... What? have you ever had any weird signs from the universe that where you're at, where you're doing is where you're meant to be? If that makes sense. It took me a bit, but it makes sense. And this is kind of how I use angel numbers. Like sometimes I'll see the numbers randomly and it'll reassure me that I'm like doing the right thing. And other times I will literally ask, I'll be like, can you, like, I've literally been like, I need a sign. And my angel numbers will pop up places. Like I was watching a TV show the other day and I was like, I said out loud, I'm like, give me a sign. And someone in the show literally a second later was like, oh, it's 11:11, make a wish. And I literally paused it and I'm like, this fucking bitch. Like, I just asked for this and I get, because 11 is my number. 4 and 11 are my angel numbers, I believe. And they kind of changed a few years ago. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, or like 12, 34. And I don't really know the science behind angel numbers, but to me, if you have a time that you always look at the clock at, like day and night, I connect those with my angel numbers. Could be wrong, but that's what I do. So yeah, weird signs from the universe to show where I'm at. That's how I use angel numbers. So if I'm doing something, like say I'm getting ready for a party and I'm like, oh, I really don't want to go, and I'll see like that number, I'll be like, okay, fuck, I'll go. Fine, like I'm listening, I'll go. But I think you just need to have faith that like, oh, this is another thing about everything happens for a reason. If you tell someone who just went through an incredible loss or breakup or tragedy and you say everything happens for a reason, not the time. Like, oh my God, not the time. That's not when you say that. So I just need to say that because I do think everything happens for a reason, but also some things are really fucking unfair and some things suck. Okay? Okay, we have 3 more questions. Abby said, do you believe in the power of healing crystals or other types? And sometimes I buy into them. Like I definitely have a bunch of crystals. I don't really know what they do, but I like having them. I recently bought Moldavite from the TikTok. Like literally everything I do is based off what I saw on TikTok. Nothing really happened from it. I really want to get it made into a ring though, but I don't know how to do that without it costing me like a shit ton of money. But if you guys have any advice on where to start with crystals, please let me know. Okay, the last question. Oh, sorry. Jasmine1221 said, would you ever visit a haunted place for a video? Nope. I wouldn't. I would never. I used to watch those videos all the time, like people going into haunted houses and doing Ouija board. And I felt even cursed watching the video. I would never do that. But if I was in a haunted situation, I would probably turn the camera on. When I was at my friend's cottage, I had my camera with me and I had it like on the dresser and it wasn't facing my bed or anything because that's scary. But I imagined, like my imagination is so fucked. I imagined waking up and having like an 8-hour footage of me, like someone like recorded me. Like, wouldn't that be so scary? If I like came home and looked at the footage and there was like an 8-hour clip of me just sleeping. So that's the kind of stuff I think about when I'm alone at a cottage. Okay, the last question. Nina Gia said, are you spiritually in tune / have psychic abilities, and what got you interested in tarot? Okay. I feel like I'm very in tune. One thing I know about myself is I have a very good intuition. And I actually went to a psychic once, like a legit, I've been to like a few psychics at like fairs and stuff like that, but this is like a legit psychic. I like went to her house. I drank the magic tea. No, I'm just kidding, but it was like legit. I've seen her with other people and it was so accurate. It was scary. I still have the recording actually on my computer, but I can't bring myself to listen to it because I'm scared, to be honest with you. But when I sat down, it was the weirdest thing, you guys. I sat down and she just gave me this look like she knows me or she's like met me before. Like it's almost like, oh, like there you are. And it was, I'll never forget it. It was so weird. And then all she said, she's like, wow, you're very spiritual and you know. And I'm like, I know. She's like, yeah. She's like, I forget what she said, but she was just like, you're very spiritual and you know. And me being like, what do I know? Because I'm paying you for something. But the whole reading, every time I would ask her questions, and I know you're not supposed to like ask, imagine me, when will he text me? I know you're not supposed to ask questions, but every time I did, she would try to encourage me to use my own intuition, and it felt like she was training me. It was so weird. Like, I'd ask her a question and she would like look at me over her glasses being like, what do you think? And I'd answer and she'd be like, exactly. So it was really weird, but my intuition's always been spot on. Like, I can always feel people's energies and like very aware when they drain me or not. I can just pick up vibes very well, which is why I have so many boundaries in my relationships, because people suck the life out of me and not in a good way. And I need space to like regroup my energy before I give it away to others. Does that make sense? Wow, you just described an introvert. Okay, this video is officially an hour long. There's a few parts I need to cut out, but I'm glad I got through these. I'm really I really hope this makes sense. And I hope that you guys don't think I'm crazy. And if you do, that's okay. There's worse things I could believe in, to be honest with you. Like fantasy football. But yeah, I love you guys. Haven't even really looked at myself in the mirror. I need to put deodorant on and I'm going to go with my sunscreen. And we're going to go. And I'm going to tell all these stories to my friend. Oh, another thing, I'm going to my friend's house. And she was like, we're supposed to have a sleepover, and she's like, we can, but apparently like people say this place is haunted. She's like, it feels like you're always being watched. And I'm like, what the fuck is up with me in haunted places right now? Like, what are they trying to tell me? So we'll go scope it out. She said it's like her brother's house. Okay, me giving way too much information away. And she said her nephew used to like see things in the fire, like see like kids in the fire and shit like that, because you know, like kids and like he's like really young, kids and dogs and animals can kind of like communicate. I don't know. All I'm going to say is just be respectful. I'm not going to say ignorant if you don't believe in stuff like that, but just kind of be respectful. Also, another thing, I'm not scared of it. Like, I am. Like, if you could have seen me in the cottage, oh, was I scared. But what are they going to do? If you're respectful, you know. I even at one point had my feet hanging off the bed, and I'm like, good for them. If they want to drag me under the bed, good for them. Okay, I'm gonna go now, and I will see you guys in my next video. Please comment down below if you want me to expand on any of these topics, because I love talking about this kind of stuff. And until then, I'll see you later.